have actually. And people say to me, first of all, did you get into NFTs? And I said, absolutely not, because I believe in hanging a beautiful aesthetic on the wall and not having some little JPEG on your phone. It doesn't mean anything. And you're just trying, it's just a way of scamming people out of money to make them believe. I don't know, it was a big giant fraud in my mind. So I'll say no to NFTs. But I will say, as far as AI is concerned, I have utilized it in some way, in two ways. One, in manufacturing imagery, which sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But recently, as in September, I was in Italy and I shot a film called Inspired Piacenza. And basically, the film is about going to Piacenza. And usually, when you go to a place, you go to the usual suspects, which are, the church and the museum, et cetera. And in this juncture, I went to some really unusual people. For instance, a guy who makes violins and cellos. Fascinating, as a storefront. Then I met a guy who is an illustrator like Norman Rockwell. Went to his studio, and it was in a high-rise building, the only high-rise building in Piacenza. And he drew spaghetti Western illustrations and comic books, and it was absolutely fascinating. Then I took a uh, sunset cruise on the Po River, which is like the Mississippi. It's like the longest river in Italy. But I was at the narrowest point, and they told me that's where the Romans crossed over to go to Milan 1,000 years ago. And we had dinner in a 15th century farmhouse while someone was playing the piano, classical piano, for 3 hours. It was just like, it was absolutely mind blowing. So I tell you this because the film is in Italian, and we used AI to translate the whole thing into English. And the guy said, "What do you think?" And I was like, he told me that after I watched the film, and I said it was perfect. I couldn't believe it. So I guess it's for some people, I mean, it could be a whole thing. I'm busy with listen, here's the deal that I believe artists, everything is autobiographical. So it has to come from within. So I'm busy with that, not sort of getting it from external source to do things, but more of my internal journey. And I think that that's kind of more important at this point than the nuance, or I don't even know what word to use for AI. I've seen people do some marvelous images with it, and it's pleasing. And if you want to turn it into a T-shirt, if you have the licensing or the rights to it because it's yours, and you're not stealing from somebody else, then I'm all for it. But it's not really necessarily a way that I see using it in a creative way, visually.